If someone had asked me 6 months ago to describe my marriage in one word, I wouldn't have hesitated. Stable. We weren't the couple who argued in restaurants. We weren't overly clingy or weirdly distant. We texted during the day, shared dinner most nights, curled up with Netflix after the kids went to sleep. It wasn't exciting all the time, but it felt real, safe, comfortable. We had 2 kids, a mortgage, weekend Target runs, shared playlists, a joint calendar on our phones. We were good, or at least I thought we were. My wife, Hannah, always kept journals, dozens of them, black moleskin notebooks with elastic bands, stacked in a box in our closet. She called it her therapy, said she wrote when she couldn't say things out loud. I respected that, never touched them, never even opened the box. Until one night, I did. I wish I could say I had a reason, but the truth is, it was stupid. Boredom, curiosity. She was out of town for a work retreat. I couldn't sleep. I went looking for extra blankets in the closet and saw the box. Something about it, maybe the way it was sealed shut with tape this time, made me pause. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Then I opened it. The first few pages were harmless. To-do lists, grocery reminders, notes about a school fundraiser. Then I turned to a page marked July 4th, and my entire world shifted under me. The fireworks were beautiful. I wish I could have watched them with him instead. I kept looking at the sky, thinking how different it would feel if his hand was in mine instead of Jack's. Jack. That's me. I sat back, heart pounding. I flipped through more pages. August, September, November. The entries weren't every day, but they were consistent. Each one a puzzle piece I never knew existed. Some were vague. He smiled at me during the meeting again today. I wonder if he knows what he does to me. Others were not. We kissed again. I told him it had to stop, but the way he touches me makes it impossible to remember why. My hands were shaking, my vision blurred, but I kept reading. I had to. He told me he loved me. I didn't say it back, not yet, but I feel it too. I just don't know what to do about Jack. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch in the dark with her journal in my lap, feeling like I was living someone else's life. Like I'd walked into a bad movie where the husband's the last to know. And somehow, I was that guy. I kept telling myself, there has to be an explanation. Maybe it's old, maybe it ended, maybe it was just emotional, maybe it was nothing. But the handwriting was recent, the dates were current, and the name? I recognized it. He worked with her. His name came up casually in stories, never suspicious. Just funny thing at the office today with Dave. Or Dave said the weirdest thing in our meeting. I'd smiled, nodded, listened, every time, while she was sleeping with him, while she was falling in love with him. The next day, I drove the kids to school, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at her wedding ring sitting in the little tray by the sink, the one she took off when she did dishes, or worked out, or apparently saw him. And I asked myself the one question I still can't answer. How long had I been living in a marriage only I believed in? Hannah walked through the front door on Sunday night around 8:45 p.m. Same roller bag, same tired smile, same quick hug and soft, "I missed you." She smelled like hotel soap and the kind of shampoo she only uses when she travels. And she kissed me like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't spent the past 48 hours reading her heart pour out onto paper for someone who wasn't me. I didn't say anything. Not right away. I told myself I needed time. Time to think. Time to decide how to even begin a conversation like this without destroying the kids' lives overnight. So I played along. I asked how her retreat was. She said, long meetings, too much coffee, but productive. I asked if she was hungry. She said, no, we ate at the airport. Then she sat down on the couch, pulled her feet up under her, and started scrolling through her phone like she always does at the end of a trip. And I stood there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, and realizing how deeply I didn't. That night, I lay beside her in bed. She fell asleep fast. Always did after travel. I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, trying to picture how many times she'd done this before. Come home from a trip, hugged our kids, kissed me, smiled through dinner, while living another life in her head. Or in his arms. I didn't sleep. Just listened to the sound of her breathing and wondered who she was dreaming about. Over the next week, I watched her like someone studying a stranger. The way she texted with her phone tilted away from me. The way she smiled slightly at notifications. The way she seemed more distracted. But none of it was new. I just noticed it now. And that was almost worse. I started seeing our marriage like one of those magic eye puzzles, blurry until your eyes adjust, and then suddenly the real image jumps out, and you can't unsee it. And now all I saw was her lying. On Wednesday, I finally checked her laptop. I know how that sounds. But you don't understand. I had to know how far this went. If it was over, if it was still happening, if she'd ever planned to tell me. She wasn't logged into any messaging apps. But her Chrome history told me enough. Hotel bookings, out-of-town meetings that didn't match her calendar, a private email account, and one search that punched the air from my lungs. How to leave your husband without hurting the kids. I shut the laptop and sat in the dark for a long time. She wasn't confused. She was planning. That night, after dinner, she was putting laundry away and asked if I'd seen her journal. My body stiffened. She never brought it up before. I said I hadn't. She nodded slowly. Weird. I thought I packed it for the trip. I shrugged. Maybe it's in the suitcase. She didn't press, and I didn't blink. But something shifted after that. She started watching me more closely, asking how I was feeling, offering to make dinner more often. Random touches, hand on my shoulder, arm around my waist, like she could feel the ground starting to move beneath us. And I kept wondering, was she guilty, or was she just nervous I knew? Either way, I couldn't play house forever. So I called a lawyer, just to talk, just to ask what it would look like, if. I didn't tell them about the journal, or the affair, or the email. Just asked what my options were, what custody might look like, what I needed to document if I ever decided to make it real. I didn't tell Hannah about the call, but I think she felt the difference in me. Because that night, for the first time in weeks, she wrapped her arms around me in bed and whispered, "Are we okay?" And I didn't say yes. I didn't say anything at all. It had to happen eventually. You can only walk around your own house pretending not to know your marriage is on fire for so long. And for me, the match got lit on a Tuesday morning. I came downstairs to find Hannah in the kitchen, standing by the sink, phone in one hand, journal in the other. She wasn't reading it, just holding it, like she wasn't sure what it was anymore. She didn't look up when she spoke. "You read it, didn't you?" My stomach turned. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She nodded once. "Okay." That was it. Not, "I'm sorry," or "let me explain." Just, okay. We didn't speak for a full minute. Then I said, "How long?" She looked at me, eyes full, not panicked, just tired. "A year." I flinched. Jesus. She set the journal down on the counter like it might explode. I never planned for it to happen. That's what they all say. "No," she said softly. "I mean it. It wasn't about him, Jack. It was about me. I felt like I disappeared in this house." "You disappeared?" I snapped. "You had a husband, 2 kids, a life we built together." "I know," she said, cutting me off. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being a person in this marriage. I became logistics. I became bedtime routines and PTA meetings and grocery lists and your second cup of coffee on Sunday mornings. And your solution was what? To find someone who made you feel 20 again? I didn't go looking for it. You didn't stop it either. She sat down at the table, suddenly looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. I kept telling myself it was a phase, an escape, something that would pass. But it didn't. No. Are you in love with him? She didn't answer, and that silence told me everything. You think, when you get cheated on, that the worst part will be the sex, the physical betrayal, the image of them together. It's not. It's the intimacy. It's knowing there were parts of her, private, raw, real, that she gave to someone else instead of you. That she confided in him when she used to confide in you. That she laughed with him. And worse, that she looked forward to it. That's the part that cuts deepest. I asked her if she wanted to leave. She said, I don't know. I asked her if she was still seeing him. She said, no. I asked her if she'd ever planned to tell me, and she said the one thing I'll never forget. Not until I had a reason to. That one sentence hit harder than anything in that journal. Not because she cheated, but because she was willing to keep going like nothing happened until the cost-benefit analysis told her to stop. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't ask me to come back. We didn't talk. The house felt different. The kids still joked at dinner. Homework still got done. Life rolled forward like it always had. But beneath the surface, everything had shifted. I was living with a stranger, and she was looking at a man who could finally see her. Too late. The next day, she asked if we could talk again. She said she didn't want to lose the family, that she was willing to go to counseling, that she hadn't spoken to him in over 2 months. She said she was ashamed, that she was lost, that she loved me, but wasn't sure if she was still in love with me. And that's when I realized something. Neither was I. We went to 2 counseling sessions. That was all it took to realize we weren't going to make it. Not because we didn't try, not because we didn't want to fix things, but because we were no longer 2 people trying to save a shared life. We were 2 people trying to fix the memory of one. And that doesn't work. You can't go back to something that only one of you was ever fully living in. The counselor was good, direct, asked hard questions. Do you think you're still emotionally married? What's left here besides history? Are you rebuilding something new or trying to tape together something that already died? I didn't want to answer any of them, but somewhere deep down, I already knew. I had stayed married to a version of Hannah that stopped existing years ago. The one who used to text me silly photos during her lunch break. The one who used to stay up late binge-watching trashy reality shows with me. The one who used to cry during Christmas commercials and then pretend she wasn't crying. That woman hadn't cheated on me, but the woman sitting next to me now? She had. And I think a part of her resented me for still looking for the person she used to be. We sat in the car outside the therapist's office after session 2. Neither of us spoke. Then I said, I think we're done. And Hannah? She just nodded. Not in anger, not in relief, just in quiet, exhausted agreement. The conversation with the kids was the hardest part. We didn't tell them about the affair, just that Mom and Dad weren't happy together and that sometimes love changes, and that we both loved them more than anything in the world. They cried. So did we. We moved to a nesting arrangement for a while. They stayed in the house, and Hannah and I rotated weeks. It was awkward, painful, quiet, but it worked. And slowly, things got better. 6 months later, the divorce was final. It didn't make headlines, no screaming matches, no custody wars. Just a quiet end to something I once thought would last forever. People always ask, do you regret reading the journal? And the honest answer? No. Because the moment I read those pages, I stopped living in someone else's version of my life. I started living in mine. Hannah and I are civil now. We co-parent well. We text about the kids. We show up to school events and smile and keep things easy for them. I don't hate her. I don't think she's a monster. I think she's a woman who got lost. And I was the husband who didn't notice her disappearing. But now I'm different. I'm alone, but not lonely. I have space. Peace. A quiet I didn't know I needed. I'm learning how to trust again, not just people, but myself. And I'm writing this because I know someone out there is staring at signs they don't want to see. Hints, red flags, gut feelings. Listen to them. Don't wait for the truth to crash through your front door in the form of a journal full of secrets. Because once you finally open your eyes, you won't be able to close them again.